the show what goes around always comes around, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Nick930, and today we're doing a video review for Watch Dogs 2. Now, this video is a bit delayed. The game came out back in November and is now January, but I wanted to make sure I played through the entire game before making this review, and I've been playing other games and have been very busy. So before I waste more time, let's get right into it and start talking about the story. In Watch Dogs 2, you play as Marcus, a young hipster hacker from Oakland, San Francisco, out to clear his name as CTOS 2.0 has wrongfully accused him of being a dangerous felon. You team up with a group of hackers known as DedSec. You may recognize that from the first game. They're the same ones. And these characters are a lot of fun. I think they did a great job designing these characters. All the voice acting is done very, very well. I especially liked Wrench. I think he's a lot of fun. He says some funny things. And they also make a lot of pop culture references, including Star Wars, which I wasn't expecting. I think that was a lot of fun, and it made the game all that much more interesting. Now, the antagonist, on the other hand, wasn't as well done. I think it was a very weak villain, and it didn't really deliver anything threatening at all. He shows up for a few scenes, and then the game pretty much ends. So I think they could have done a much better job with the villain. Now, the game is pretty long. It's a typical open-world game, so there's a lot of collectibles, a lot of missions, side missions, and activities to do in the world. The map itself is gigantic, so it's going to be a lot of time driving back and forth, but you can use fast travel, which will speed up your playtime for sure. And you'll also get distracted by not only the activities in the world, but other players hacking into your single player. But I will talk about that later. And let's just talk about the missions real quick. The missions are a lot of fun. They're way better than they were in the first Watch Dogs because each mission seems very different and unique, with all kinds of very interesting design ideas and concepts that involve you hacking and trying to expose some kind of corruption in the city related to CTOS. Let's just talk about the gameplay, though, because we've talked enough about the story. Like I said before, the map is gigantic. It is a beautiful map with lots of big landmarks from San Francisco. It's not a one-to-one recreation. There was a few things that were definitely missing. For example, the Ghirardelli sign in Ghirardelli Square is missing. Despite it saying on the map Ghirardelli Square, I could not actually identify which building was the Ghirardelli chocolate factory, but having been there myself, I could figure it out pretty easily, but it is kind of disappointing they weren't able to put that in. I'm sure it had to do with copyright issues. They do have Alcatraz there. Alcatraz actually kind of looks like a one-to-one recreation from what I remember seeing. So I like how they put that in. They also have the big pier with all the sea lions. That's awesome. I also love the attention to detail. They actually have wild conures flying around towards, what's the tower called? Hoyt Tower, I think? Coit Tower. Coit. One of those two. They have wild parrots flying around, and I only recognize it because I recently adopted a parrot, conure, and he makes the exact same obnoxious screaming sound. So I immediately noticed it when I was walking around the city, and I thought that was very, very cool. So thank you, Ubisoft, for putting so much attention to detail to even put in the right bird. That's very cool. What else? Oh yeah, mission structure. We talked about it a little bit earlier and how the missions are a lot of fun. The missions mostly require you solving hacking puzzles, which is a lot like just flipping pipes around. You'll remember this from Watch Dogs 1, where you kind of were like inside the network and you were moving pipes around to get the signal to go from one end to the other. Typical pipe game. But now the pipe game is outside in the city, and you can see it all around the buildings. It's kind of odd, but it is a lot of fun to play with. It kind of plays into the whole goofy nature of this game, and it seems to work, but it does feel as though the game relies a little too heavily on this. There's a bit too much of that going on. There's also a lot of missions where you have to sneak past guards. I think this works very well. And I did enjoy finding multiple creative paths to conquer your objective. You don't always have to do it the same way. For example, you could take everybody out, run inside, and hack the computer. You can try sneaking in without anyone seeing you and hack the computer by hand. Or you could send in a little remote-controlled drone and have the drone hack into the server itself without you even stepping foot inside the building. I love that. I love how you can do all kinds of different creative things. It makes the game a lot more replayable and fun to play. So thank you, Ubisoft. Very good idea. Very, very nicely done. The gunplay, however, wasn't too great. So if you did decide to take the combat approach to these missions, you're probably not going to have that great a time. Combat is very clunky. Equipping different weapons is awkward. I consistently forgot how I was supposed to be taking out my guns or what gun I had equipped. It wasn't very clear, and it's very clear that the game just doesn't seem to lend itself towards this character even owning a real gun. It was very odd that they had a 3D printer that was making assault rifles, and they were just kids. I didn't really understand why they were holding these guns in the first place. If they're trying to expose corruption, why are they shooting cops? So it just didn't fit in with the storyline. I preferred going through it non-lethally as best I could, though for some reason the melee, which, by the way, the melee looks very cool. It's a little cue ball attached to a rope. I thought that was interesting, unique idea. The melee only lethally kills people. I mean, lethally takes them down. You can't non-lethal take down anyone unless you use a taser gun. So that's a little disappointing. The stealth mechanics were okay. They're very simplistic, but they work. Hacking, it's again very simple, just like it was in Watch Dogs 1, just they've expanded it a bit, allowing you to do cool things like hacking vehicles and making them move left, right, back, forward, which comes in handy when you're just trying to find a good parking place. You can move a car away and then smash it off into the river or whatever. So I had a lot of fun with the hacking. I think they did a great job with that, and that's what this game is all about, and that's all that really matters. But I think the gunplay definitely needs some tweaking. The progression system is pretty typical of an open world game. You can earn XP by doing missions, use the XP to unlock more things, but you also had to get special key data from certain locations on the map to unlock specific hacking upgrades. So this really requires you to explore the map and go to specific points just to get the data. If you were, for example, if you wanted to cause a blackout, you need to go to a specific site and get the specific data. And these generally are very well hidden or require a lot of creative problem solving. I ended up having to use a forklift to lift a van so I can climb up onto the roof of a building just to get to the data I was trying to get to. Which, I mean, that's a lot of fun, that's great, but it is a little difficult when you're trying to do this to get a tool that'll help you when a player invades your game. You have a player invading your game. Side activities, there's a lot of them. They mostly are races, however. You can do a dirt bike race, go-kart race, you can do a sailboat race, and also a drone race. So they're all racing with various odd vehicles. They did remove the chess game from Watch Dogs 1 and the ball and cup game, like the street con artists were using. So that was kind of disappointing. I did enjoy that. It made the city feel a little bit more alive, but I think it's fine the way it is. And let's talk about graphics. I mean, there's not really much else to say about the graphics. The graphics are phenomenal. I mean, you can see it right here. The game really pops. It's got a lot of color. I think San Francisco was the right choice to really mix the game up. Chicago was kind of a dreary, boring place compared to this. And I think they nailed it. I think the city looks phenomenal. The one downside to this game is that performance isn't fantastic. You're going to need a very high-end rig to run this game the way I'm running it right now. And even I'm not even running it on the highest settings. I had to lower the extra detail setting. So I'm not sure what computer is running this at the highest possible settings with a smooth frame rate, but it sure as heck is not a 980 Ti with a i7 processor. Physics for the cars aren't fantastic. They're not as good as they are in GTA or other games. It's a very arcadey feel, but it's better than it was in Watch Dogs 1, which is fine, whatever. At least they improved upon that, and I'm sure it'll just keep getting better if they turn this game into an ongoing franchise. And finally, let's talk about the multiplayer. The multiplayer, once again, has the invasion mode from Watch Dogs 1. It's the exact same way it was, just now players can use that drone, making it a little bit more difficult for the player to hack someone's data, because they can easily throw a drone up in the air and find you hiding in the corner or hiding in a crowd. There's also a new mode called Bounty. If you are causing too much trouble with the cops, it'll actually call other players to try and kill you. So if you don't like this, I suggest turning this option off in your settings, or else you're going to have players interrupting your, police officer manslaughter. And finally, there's co-op. The co-op isn't too great. It allows you to go to some of the missions from the single player and replay them. It is not the same as the single player missions. They're just the same areas being reused. And I thought this is kind of lazy. I was hoping they would have their own separate co-op missions, but unfortunately all you get are these locations where you go in, hack data, or save a hostage, and run out. And you get bonus points if you complete secondary objectives. So the co-op isn't exactly what I expected. I didn't really expect much, honestly. This game always seemed like a single-player franchise. The invasion mode is awesome, but I didn't really enjoy doing anything cooperatively in Watch Dogs 1, and I certainly don't enjoy it in Watch Dogs 2. It just does not fit. But that's pretty much it. Overall, the game is very, very good. I highly recommend it. If there is a good sale, I would say $40 is a very good price for it. Anything below that is ideal. $60, probably not. I think you could definitely wait on this game. The price will drop very quickly, and you're not really missing much. But it is a very fun game with a lot of personality. I think Ubisoft has done a very good job of saving this franchise after the disaster that was Watch Dogs 1. So thank you all for watching. I hope this video was useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or things you'd like to know. I'd be happy to answer that for you. And I will see you all next time.
If you share these beliefs, you